Welcome
to
Randolph Bow.
podcast. Well, it's been a really long
Hello.
time since we last did one.
Too long, hasn't it? Sussy?
Today is the 13th of April. We recorded the episode one on like the 14th of February, maybe. So it's coming up to like 3 months.
Alright, that was a little bit ago, but yeah.
Oh well,
yeah.
We've been meaning to come on since part 3 really came. We wanted to do like part 2. We want to do one after part 2.
Yeah, we did.
But with the whole delay of part 2, it just made sense for us to put our full attention into getting part 3 out. So then after that, then we've had a week or so since then. Maybe it's about 3 weeks actually now.
About 2 weeks.
One quick thing. Do you guys like my new skin?
Yeah.
Because well, shout out to Harry for changing this. I found this skin when I was looking for just like a casual skin, and it looks like my if you look at it, it looks like my kind of regular skin, even like the wolf one with the hoodie. Like, and I found a skin that looks similar to that.
Yeah, I feel very underdressed today because I forgot my suit.
Oh, how could you?
Alright, so I think what we said we would do is we would kind of begin this by talking about the lore of all 3 parts. So I'm going to get it off my phone because I can't actually tab out as I'm recording this.
So I will start off by saying the lore was you had to kind of watch Sooty's episode first, the one that I
Moving in, episode 851.
Yes.
Well, before we begin, I want me and Sooty have worked on a playlist. I'll get it done. That'll be in the link in the description so you can watch every single episode in order.
Yes. Or just like, download it to this channel and put it up there as well. That works. So look out for that. Pretty much, me and Sooty are all kind of like, where are we? Because we end up in the edges of Sooty's world. And then, of course, we venture into Classic. We realize it's Classic even though we were just there. And so, essentially, obviously, we met with Bucky.
Well, this is Classic on Bedrock. This is Classic Bedrock.
Yes, Classic Bedrock. Fair. So then, anyway, in my POV, I go to sleep and have a dream about a certain hit the target, having a conversation with a certain,
Yeah, so at the same time as they're kind of exploring is the same time my episode is happening. It's all happening at a very similar time. I think, like, the way I've envisioned it is maybe you guys have been there for a while before I actually got there. But it is roughly, like, episode 1s do roughly line up, so everything we're doing is happening at the exact same time, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then,
Go on, sorry, continue. Explain your lore in that episode, outside from that.
My lore was a journey, and my journey began in Stollingwold, and I went through the teleport we built in the previous episode, which obviously...
I got about it afterwards.
Yeah, I was about to say that, yes.
That's cool.
So yeah, we travelled in the teleporter to Lovely World. Everything looked fine, so then I went over to Eyeballs' like bunker. We used the machine to go back to the 658 timeline, which of course would have been... If none of like Rusty got involved, like I would have just gone to Tyler's timeline. Like if the original, if certain reasons I think we shared in part 1, why episode 1, why this whole collab happened. If that had happened, all I'd have done in that episode was go and visit Tyler's timeline 658. That was always the plan. But then we end up with this massive thing. So I go through to Lovely World. I explore around and see everything's different. The extension was gone. The extension was just gone. And I went crazy. I had a big crash out with that in the video.
I remember being like, where's my extension?
Yeah. And it was funny. It was good to get rid of it, though. It was stupid. We all agreed on that. And I was just stuck with it, though, because I didn't want to get rid of it because Bedrock Edition.
Right.
So moving on, I went over to I went to the bedrooms and I found Barry's bedroom was where Henry and Hilda's would have been. So then I
break the fourth wall just a tiny bit and say, yeah, we did play it off as Rusty did that in the videos, but that was me that did that.
Yeah. All the changes that happened, like some changes obviously happened in Tyler's timeline as well at the doghouse. We all did. Tyler did it mainly. I was just telling him what to do for mine specifically.
Yeah,
that was like hours of just Tyler's time to do it, but it was worth it to make kind of like Rusty wanted to make everything the way he thought it would be. So from there, I wandered, obviously, as we found Barry's bedroom there, then I wandered to the side. My bedroom's there, but there's like this purple corruption, and then I see the figure.
Well,
Me and Rusty have this conversation. He refuses to tell me his name, but then he gives me those coordinates to follow. The coordinates to follow that would take me to Lost Legacy.
bop, bop. Sorry, go on.
And during this time is
then-
where they're in Classic and they go for a sleep. And they find, and Sooty and Wolf have found their coordinates, and then
Wolf,
we're at the
wake
same
up,
point.
wake up, Wolf. Yes, Chester being a bit of
So,
a
I think the next
bit.
bit of lore is Sooty. You need to kind of explain your
Yeah.
Chester lore at the end of that episode, part 1.
It's misfortune, Sooty.
Alright. So pretty much, Chester tries to lure me away from Wolf because he wants to get back with Wolf because he hasn't seen Wolf for a while. And he was a little bit annoyed at me last time when I saw Wolf and I didn't tell him.
Ooh, silly suit. Bad.
So yeah, so he makes up this plan pretty much like to take Wolf from me in a way, like just to like kind of lure him to eventually to the cages.
Yeah.
So and then he kind of just says like, basically just says that he's going to take Wolf for me. And then I'm like, what? What Chester are you talking about? And then he just goes, and then I go back to sleep.
Yeah.
So that pretty much, like, obviously, I explained that probably in like the shortest way, but you probably just have to watch the video for the full kind of.
Yeah, watch the video.
Yeah.
Because.
I honestly, I died of laughter of that because Chester, the voice of Chester, it's so good. It's so funny. Like, can we have an example? Can we have an example, please, of the house on fire from Chester?
Sooty, the house is on fire, Sooty. Come on, wait. Oh, no. What? Nothing. Go back to sleep, little Soot. Come on, go back to sleep.
I love it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So, yeah, that was pretty much the end of the first part. So, yeah, that's what pretty much you got left for a while.
Yeah, a while. Because of a certain Sooty over on the other side of me. You know, I'm staring you down over there, Mr. Soot, for certain
Wait, does my skin change show up for you, Sal?
No.
Oh, hold up.
There we go. Yeah. I don't know why, because I do have Essential on, so it's weird.
Yeah, I thought it would.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah, so beginning of part 2. Now, the lore of part 2 really went massively in sync. Because I think it begins with Wolf and Chester. They go off on this boat.
Hold up, I got buried there. Go on, continue.
So they go. No way you got that. That's like the old one. Old Rusty's back.
Well,
so
continue.
obviously Wolf and Chester, they wander in. Chester does his really good intro. Like, I love that. That was probably a really fun scene to do.
Oh, I loved it.
So he does that little scene, and then they wander along. They speak to Evil Sooty. And then when Evil Sooty is going to see somebody, that's when he goes and sees me. When he goes and visits, when we meet at Fancy Pants in this timeline, it's Fancy Pants.
Evil suit.
So he obviously sends me on a different path, and then he also after he finishes with me, he goes back off to Wolf. He hides in the tree and pretends to be Sooty. This is the bit people aren't understanding: is the Sooty in that episode on the tree was not Sooty; it was Evil Sooty. And then obviously in Classic, which we'll let Sooty explain in a minute, that was Evil Wolf, not Wolf.
So, pretty much, right? Like, this is probably on my behalf. The video was that video was meant to come out at the exact same time as my video. They were meant to be out at the exact same time, so you can watch them and then they connect. It's kind of like a kind of jigsaw piece. You know, it's just you have to kind of connect them.
Oh
to make
no!
the picture clear.
Yes.
So without my video, like, being there, it was kind of confusing for the lore in some points, and obviously it wasn't there. So yeah, so you know the video, right? It could have been confusing, a lot more. So that goes on to my part 2. I'm just going to say it here.
Yep.
So basically, in my part 2, it's pretty much identical to Tyler's, like, in a way, because it's just the opposite.
Yeah.
Basically, the evil Sooty and the evil Wolf.
Well, let's start with the foundations. So, with Chester taking Wolf off, Sooty's, I suppose, lore aspect motive is just to do with the normal video. To quote his waits for Wolf to come back. Because Chester's kind of just... he thinks Chester's just gone off with Wolf for the day. He doesn't know they've gone on this lore adventure to Lost Legacy.
So, my one originally was meant to be a throw-off, like a throw-off episode, like to throw people off. That's why, like, because you think because of this collab, I'd upload just another part of the collab, and then it was meant to throw people off, obviously. So it was just a normal video. I tore the house off, and
Finally,
then
with no interruptions.
And Luna appeared in that episode. Luna and Zany. Zany only appeared in that episode. Zany was the only one in that collab that appeared in that episode. Didn't appear in Tyler's or Sal's POV, I don't think.
Nope. Unique. But Luna wasn't even in ours. Like, Bucky was in yours part 1. I didn't meet Bucky. I met Chester. But I didn't actually meet everyone in that part.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, like, I think originally, right, this whole Luna and Zany were going to have something, but I don't know where that's exactly the foundation of that is.
Well, there is... I won't obviously go too much into it, but there's something coming up. As long as I get this episode edited before Saturday... Saturday the... What date is it going to be on Saturday? Saturday the 19th.
Yeah.
There's going to be a video that will... It won't obviously show the lore with Zany and Luna, but it's setting it up for them to have continue their friendship that was shown in Sooty's episode.
Yeah.
Which is pretty fun.
Oh, yes.
Continue, Mr. Soot.
So, yeah, like, it was just a normal episode until pretty much about after I did the house tour. I walked out and I saw... Oh, no, I forgot, right, about the Death Note.
Yeah, the Death Note. This is what alludes Sooty to think they've just gone off for a walk.
Yeah, like that. I don't know exactly how it went, but it was basically like it was some crazy stuff like the grass is green on the other side, like stuff like that, like a bit dark.
If I can find it, I will put a picture of the book on screen to refresh everyone's memories.
You're just giving yourself extra work at this point.
Yeah, so it was. So I basically had like that was that episode. Right, I had the most helpers I ever had in Classic.
Yeah.
Like
it was
all the helpers
crazy to record.
Like even Charles helped, which was major. Thanks to him for that.
Yeah, Charles played Luna in that episode. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Luna. Yeah.
So I think that was the only episode Charles actually helped on Classic. I'm pretty sure it is. So. Yeah. So it was interested until the next morning after I house tour. I went to sleep. I woke up, and then I pretty much finished off the house tour. And then I went outside, and then I saw Wolf and Chester. But to make it not for any confusion, right? The Chester you see in my video is the same Chester you see in Tyler's video. There's not two Chesters. There's not a good Chester and there's not an evil Chester.
When Chester went off in Wolf's video, in Tyler's video, said he was going to go off somewhere hunting. That was when he went to meet with Evil Wolf in Sooty's timeline.
Mm-hmm.
That's how that connects up.
Yeah. So, basically, this Evil Wolf, and I think it's the real Wolf, like, as the same as he thinks it's me. And it was meant to put us... They thought they could put us against each other.
Yeah.
So that's why we had that extra scene in the cage. So, yeah. So, we basically go to the Funland to play minigames, and basically he just pulls a Viva Dash and, like, cheats. Yeah. Like, he just, like, ridiculously cheats on the minigame. Like, on...
Take the tooth. Take the tooth,
Take the tooth.
Yeah, it's funny that way.
So, he just literally pretty much to, like... it made me look terrible in the game. Yeah. So we played it, and then he was acting really dodgy, calling Zany Xenia.
Yeah.
Which is a reference to a program that we use.
Yeah, reference.
Xenia Canaria.
Yeah, Xenia. So, yeah, and so then basically played it, he tweeted, and then basically he asked me if he could talk to me about something, and then not told the helpers to say there. Really dodgy, like.
Yeah.
So I followed him, and then basically he just killed me with the mace, but
Yeah.
in the lore he knocked me out with the mace. But it actually killed me with the mace. But
so then this lines us up with the lore of Tyler. Tyler obviously gets knocked out by Evil Sooty, and then for me, I just walk over. So then I guess back to Tyler now, because the next part of the lore is you.
Essentially, for my part too, I was under the assumption, based on Chester, that Sooty had gone without me, and he intentionally knew that I was fast asleep, and he got ahead of himself. But luckily, Chester, the savior, had a book. He had like either I think I said like he memorized the coordinates from the book that we all saw the day before, and so from that we were able to hop over to Lost Legacy. Now there's a good improv moment here if you can remember what it was, Sal.
What?
Remember when Chester did the intro?
Oh yeah. That was like cook.
Oh, that was cock stuff right there.
Yeah.
I
think I played Chester. That was me playing Chester. I'm pretty sure.
It was, yes, it was. So then I came across when we were walking by Fancy Pants. I came across Evil Sooty, and basically, he was saying, "Oh, you're one." He's like trying to say like, because I think it was I said to him, "I recognize you. You're the one that tried to stop me from trusting Rusty," and you're right. He's like, "Am I now or am I not?" kind of thing. So then we had a bit of a conversation about whether his trust and his words were good enough now, and he alludes to the perspective, or well, to the point of there being a bigger picture, and he needs one of the other people to help lay out the cards for this.
Which is me.
Yes, which is obviously Silence at the Target. Now, I was, walking around. I was just gonna, just make sure the world was okay. I saw the doghouse was changed to be the new one from the, I think, 889 episode when he did the doghouse.
Yeah, it was the new one anyway.
789, even something like that. Yeah. And so essentially, after that, I go to the tower and I notice, I think the portal was blocked off. So I went to go down to see it, and I saw Sooty, who was being a bit strange and being a bit, "Hello there, I am your friend Sooty, kind of thing." So, there was obviously something a bit wrong there, if you guys picked up on that. And essentially, we were walking around, and I showed him the college, because this is a build that we were going to work on, and he starts destroying it. And I said, well, I know you're contributing, technically, but it's not helping. But we go to the yacht, and he starts pulling out his sword, and he's like, "I'm going to steal this for Lost Legacy Classic!" And I'm like, "Please don't do that," So, essentially, he's getting weirder and weirder, kills a sheep, says he's contributing, and then he's like, "We've got to go on an adventure to find out for who our helpers are for the episode." So I follow him very cautiously. And he's like, "Well, you know what? I kind of lied. See it?" And then just, whacks me.
Yep.
And that's when it knocks me out and I end up in the cage. Now, my cage scene in lore happens first. Because you can see when Evil Sooty says, you shouldn't have trusted me this whole time. You can see when we turn to the left, Evil Sooty, well, not Evil Sooty, sorry, the good Sooty, him over there, in other words, on the left, and me, he was there knocked out cold in a cage next to me. And that's obviously when I tried to plead with this Evil Sooty to let us out, but he disappears. And then Sooty's perspective continues, and then there's your perspective, which you should get into.
Well, actually, it is Sooty's turn, because it's his perspective comes next, yeah. His perspective's after yours, which we didn't actually explain what happened in his cage scene yet, so... Sooty?
So basically, right, after Tyler's cage scene, technically it's not in order, in release order, when the videos came out, it was really bad. But basically, in that cage scene, after Evil Sooty comes in and tells Evil all about that. Next, after that, is my scene with the evil wolf that comes in, and I kind of wake up in the cage, and then you're arguing, and then we kind of argue for a bit, over and then you kind of get mad at me because you thought I stole Zenny.
Zany.
Yeah.
I'm getting mixed up with the names now.
Yeah, you basically like made him angry on purpose by saying that Zadie was gonna become one of your helpers.
Yeah. So basically, we got he got quite annoyed at me. But
In-law, but
in-law.
that too.
But yeah,
We won't get into
we
that.
didn't really ever do any that much with that after we got out. So really, kind of yeah. But so yeah, so pretty much right. That scene, my video ends, and then Sal comes in the law. That's how it works.
So going on to me, of course, I've now, as I said before, I was sent on a different path from Evil Sooty. I wandered through the world, going down south, and it took a long time in a lore point of view. It took hours and hours and hours. I arrive in this weird place. Of course, you guys know it is the in-between. I yet didn't know this. I thought, well, let's go over to Fancy Pants. And I did not realise at the time it was going to be Fancy Prison. Love Fancy Prison. So, of course, I have this conversation with Rusty. You know, and he takes me and he shows me Wolf and he shows me Sooty, the Pity Panda. And, like, I start to see the bad side of him, the bad side of Rusty. And then I decide to try and put him in the cage. And that's where everything starts to unravel and go wrong. Because he goes like, the cage, you can't put me in the cage. And
you can't put me in the cage. I'm too good for that.
Yeah. So I get put in the cage and I'm left there. And then I have a little conversation with Wolf and I basically tell him, I've chosen your side, Wolf. Now you need to tell me everything. And he just goes, don't worry, I will.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That was like one of those here we go cliffhanger moments.
Yeah.
And then it ends.
Yeah. Luckily, this time you only have to wait like a week, 9 days.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, but like I know I shouldn't like throw shades during this. We just kind of gave up waiting on Sooty.
Yeah. After part 2, I put my foot down and says, "Give me the effing Rusty presets for how we edit Rusty." He gave me him, and then I edit it for part 3. You know,
I'm so glad that happened. Honestly, I was losing my mind.
So yeah, part 3 begins. Pretty normal, really. Wolf it's mainly me and Wolf. This is he kind of explains the whole lore of Rusty and how he meets him. And then we hear this rather weird sound, don't we?
Oh no! Remember, evil Wolf comes in first.
Yes.
Take your stuff.
He comes in and he takes my stuff out. He takes the stuff away from me because obviously Rusty left me with this.
That just reminded me, right? Alright, this is a bit silly, but I'm gonna say it. Basically, in this scene, I wasn't actually playing myself. It was Charles's he was leaving something aftershave bottle playing me. I got replaced by an aftershave bottle.
No, wait.
No, that was in the that was in the
the reason why he had that is because he had to go and he was also setting up his custom Windows ISO at that point.
Yeah.
So,
oh my god, I got
replaced by that though.
Yeah. So.
Oh god.
Then after this, we keep talking about it, and then Wolf's like, "What's that sound?" And then suddenly, we get teleported to the shrine, and we're like, "Why?" And then we find out that Chester, the mysterious man Chester, he knows how the shrine works, how to teleport people. Which, of course, that's yet to know why Chester knows how to do that. That's probably going to be one of the biggest things that's going to be left for a while. At some point it'll get explained, but I don't think...
I know the story that Chester's going to take before the fight. I will just say that. And I will just say, brace yourselves.
Yeah. Everything will be explained with Chester. And
yeah.
So, we arrive with Chester. We speak, and of course, Polly, Chester, and Barry were there. Now, of course, at first, we actually planned, like, a scene at the beginning of the video where he went around to help us up, and then they worked together, but then we just decided, well, it probably makes sense to leave it more of a mystery of, like, how this went. So, then we kind of talked to Chester, so I'll hand over to you, Wolf, for this next part.
So, we talked to Chester. He kind of says that he was obviously snooping around, and he was around Fancy Prison when they heard all the evil people talking to us, and so because he knew where like the kind of shrine was, he recruited. He flew far and wide and found all of our different worlds essentially, and by recruiting the helpers of all the redstone people. So for Sounds, it would be berries. For Thutties, it would be of course.
It was Chester.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course, Chester was the one that did it, but of course, for me, it was Polly. So all the redstone mines came together, stood under 3 pressure plates, like pedestals, and used the power of kind of their own thoughts and wishes to essentially summon us to that kind of platform in the shrine.
Yeah. So obviously we're there, and we talk to Chester, and then he's like, we kind of talk about how we need to get back there for our stuff, and he tries to like put us off the idea of this, doesn't he? And so it's not a good idea. Because this is when we find this map. Now, the map, of course, we've let the map is still a big mystery. The map will probably get explained at some point, because I have one, and Wolf has one in his respective timelines now. And yeah, that's really all that's been explained, is we still have those maps at the end of part 3, but nothing more with them. So we with these maps, we realize that we can, like, if we think of where we want to go, we can feel it. We can feel where they are.
Yeah.
This is obviously like a really new concept for the Loveyverse and things that we kind of came up with for part 3, which mainly part 2, I suppose it first came up with the map for me. Yeah. Probably one of the biggest things with part 3 is that, to be honest, biggest new things.
Yeah.
As well as a certain observer, which we'll get into later.
Oh yes.
So
spicy.
We begin to like go to a fancy prison, but then we think, well, if we just walk in there, we're going to end up getting ambushed and killed. Yeah. So Wolf, I think, had the bright idea of going to my timeline for the first time. So this would be the first time Wolf and Sooty would see my timeline. So we walk through the world talking about it as we're going towards my timeline. Then we make a cut. And then this cut obviously takes us to when we're getting ready to go. We've got everything we need. We've got food, and we walk over to...
I will just say what happened during that cut was some of the most frustrating things.
But edges, God. Oof.
I mean, it wasn't even that. It was more just like everyone was going to AFK, and it was just like, ugh.
Yeah. Oh, so we finally, probably about half an hour later, or maybe 45 minutes by that point, we finally began walking over to the castle, the bunker for me. It's got the Italian house and the bunker underneath. We go through, and this is where Wolf and Sooty believe that I betrayed them. And of course, we go in, we find the room has been changed to the study. Inside this study stood Rusty, an evil wolf.
Well.
Wolf, Tyler.
Realized...
Oh, go on, Sooty. Go on.
Sorry to cut you guys off, but we're recording this a day before the 2-month anniversary since this collab has started.
Oh, cool. That's crazy.
Tomorrow's the 14th. So that's crazy to think that.
I might have to make a big lock-in and you guys can see it on the 14th.
Oh, gosh.
So yeah, of course, so do you want to explain the whole Rusty conversation, Tyler?
So essentially, we were not wanting to play games anymore. And I straight up asked him, who is this bigger picture? And he goes, the guy upstairs,
God.
I'm so good.
He goes,
God. And I said, no, you stupid rhino, whatever. I said, I mean the person that you've been talking about that's clearly responsible for all this. So he goes and leaks the name, the Observer. Now, the Observer is rumoured in this sense to be the one that has pulled our timelines together, because he sees us as nothing more than pixels on a screen. Oh,
where's he go? So, he's back. Okay. So as Rusty kind of says in that scene, he says, "I convinced him to bring you all together."
Well,
I asked him to do it. So of course, then we speak with Rusty for a while. This is probably one of the longest conversations with Rusty. But of course, 850 for Sooty is probably the longest, but this is one of the longest. And of course, this was my first time editing Rusty. So it took me quite a while to edit, but it was worth it in the end because it went smoothly. And this was also the first episode with captions. I did the captions. Now, I know the captions weren't great. Next time we see Rusty, which, you know, I'll spoil it a little bit, is soon. I may have already edited the next Rusty stuff. The captions are much better.
I will say this.
Go on, Sooty.
That will be the last time that I play Rusty in that episode. For now, at least.
So this specific episode will have the really good captions in it. So, of course, we have this conversation, and Wolf basically, well, Tyler asks Rusty to, like, make a diversion. I'll let you continue from here on out, Wolf.
So, the diversion...
Minor cut there, ladies and gentlemen.
Very minor,
yeah.
but...
Minor mistake here, guys.
Yeah, but anyway, carry on, Wolf. Carry on. Mr. Tyler Byron.
So basically, his diversion was because he'd been brought back to life by this observer fella. I basically told him, why is he not using his life for good? Because we don't know when his last stand will be. And the fact that he's brought back to life must be a blessing and a curse. And when it turns into a curse, is when he's going to have all these regrets.
Yeah.
And he basically said he was scared of the observer and he didn't want to work for him. But of course, he was just like, because
he's stuck.
Basically. Yeah, he's stuck. Be angry anymore. He would be terrified. So pretty much, I would leave that one. So anyway, he sees sense and evil wolf. He doesn't really make too many comments about the whole Rusty thing. So it's never really known where he stands with it. But what is certain is Rusty's kind of changed his tune, and they help us. They say they're going to distract.
But evil Sooty is, of course, as you were going to say, is still mysterious.
Yes, so essentially...
There's more to the guy.
Lots
the eye. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But we managed to get into Fancy Prison after, obviously, Rusty, that distracted them and probably gave them, like, a fake lead or something, who knows. We got in there, got all of our stuff back, and that's when we started to question all this, because everything that hit the target was telling us in this whole kind of thing felt a bit dodgy, like the room and all that. So we kind of started questioning, if he was going to actually tell us, like, if this was all going to be truthful. So we ended up saying that we kind of had to trust him if we wanted to get back, because of course, what was it that you said? You had like the map or something?
Yeah, the map. Yeah.
Lost Legacy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because so we got our stuff. Is that where we're at? Where we got the stuff and we were kind of
we got the stuff. We had that argument, and then we're heading back.
So I was like, well, I didn't want to be evil by saying this, because obviously these seem like good people, but I was like, well, you can't get back without me. I've got both maps in my person. So then they come back and they agreed they trust me. And I even gave them one of the maps, so they could trust me even more, which is, of course, now why both maps are on the other side. Like, what I've got one, and Wolf's got one in his timeline. That's one thing we probably should have said more about in the specific Saturday episode, but, we can always...
that can be a lead that comes up soon.
Yeah. It can come up, because Saturday's episode may or may not make a permanent link between our timelines. Yeah. So, of course, from there, we begin walking back, and then we get to the tree, and we're like, well, nobody's here. So I say, I'm just going to guess the helpers have gone through. So, yeah, Wolf, want to say the end?
Essentially, so we all have our nice little goodbyes. Yeah. We head on through the tree, which takes us all back to our respective timelines. And so, of course, I then go on to finish the college. Which
yeah. Don't wait. That's not like Sooty. Wait till Saturday to find out what happened to Sooty. With me, obviously, I end up in the Java timeline. I'm now in a Java timeline from before, it was pretty fun. I'm happy to be in the Java timeline because I can run the love garden. Like it makes sense for me to have the balcony, the bedroom there now, because I can run the signs. Like I could run the signs before, but not very great. So moving to Java has done the world of the good for this boat for mine and Tyler's series.
Your main concern was people, but we have people now, which is really good.
Got a big group now.
Yeah.
So,
alright.
Oh, go on, Sooty.
So, sorry to cut you off. I'm just going to say, the reason why I didn't have part 3 is because I didn't really see it as necessarily needed, really.
We had that
all of
long
our parts
Rusty
were
chat.
pretty much the same.
Yeah,
and
Sooty didn't really talk much in that. Well, I don't think he talked at all in the Rusty conversation, so I didn't kind of see his point of that. Yeah.
But, you know, I still have the video unedited, so if I ever do decide to edit it, it may get uploaded in the future on like a kind of like just to kind of finish it off at some point, but don't wait for it.
So of course the big question is like, what's next? What is next?
I know what's next.
Yeah.
And if you guys haven't been paying attention to Lost Legacy, well, if you have even, you will know there's a machine in the Target's castle, which Wolf, as in my character, has not figured out what it is. And I'm not telling you guys what it is either, because
I'll give you a clue.
And of course,
he has appeared in Classic.
Yeah. And of course, for me, there's a big plot point coming with Sal. Sal is, I've not met him yet, but he's lurking.
The court.
He's lurking in the shadows. He's lurking in the shadows, ready to come out. It won't be too much longer now till I will meet him for the first time. But as for like as for an epilogue, I suppose, of the collab, it's coming out on. This is the Saturday video. It will be an epilogue to the collab. It'll be like, yeah, what's next for the lovely verse?
Yeah, I also just want to say that looking back, I do feel kind of bad because I know it was technically the season 2 of Lost Legacy anniversary, and Charles did say that he wanted to be involved with it, and I do feel bad in that sense.
Yeah.
But we genuinely thought that he wanted no input with that sort of thing anymore because of the whole confusion of those timelines and stuff. So that's why we didn't really.
Yeah.
Shoot,
There was a plan with Charles. I think we're still going to try and do it.
I think it would be after season 2's end.
Yeah.
Looking at it now.
There's two big things with Charles that are planned. That we all should be involved in. I don't know if Sooty will be involved. But at least me, Tyler, and Charles will be involved, and Sooty if he wants to be involved. It will all kick off after season 2. So yeah, shall we move on to the Observer? Shall we kind of talk about how he began?
There's not that much on him at the moment, really, like in the series.
He's very mysterious, but I want to take a leaf out of the Unstable Universe book here and have him send an assassin that will try and kill me, or you, or whoever.
I think we may have already met the assassin. That's all I'm gonna say. We may have already met him.
Have we?
Yeah. Well, one of his assassins, I suppose. We already met one of them.
I am not even sure what you're yapping right now.
Yeah, I have no clue.
You might want to DM this in the group.
I'm just gonna say this, right? Like, right now, I don't know what's happening in the lore. Like, I'm as same as you guys. I only know literally what happens in the videos.
I don't know if we have. That just seems like.
So yeah, we just had a little talk. We do know what we're going on about, I suppose.
Something like that.
Yeah. So like, I suppose I'll let Wolf and Sooty explain. Like, what kind of prompted you to come up with the Observer? Because I think that's important for people to know.
Well, I think Rusty lost his charm. Let's just be honest there. I think Rusty feels a bit more like an overused asset now, which it doesn't really help with what we've done. But I feel like we kind of have to really maintain the Lovelyverse connection. The Observer is kind of the be-all, end-all. There is nobody higher than the Observer in Lovelyverse lore. And he's a kind of member of the Legends group that have gone rogue and overprotective of the world, but they've kind of lost like all their hope with it because of the continuations and the timelines that are getting broken and destroyed.
Yeah. What about some of the early name concepts? Do you want to talk about that?
Early name concepts. We were going to call him the Watcher.
Yeah, the Watcher.
The Watcher. But then we realised that's what in the Marvel universe. That's what the guy's called that watches over the multiverse. It's like the Watcher is the multiverse look over. So
and then it was
then we realised.
And then it was the director.
Yeah.
That was
that was just from Unstable.
Yeah.
So
and then we came up. Well, I think this was Tyler that said Observer. I think the Observer.
I think it was.
Yeah.
No, actually, I think it was Ben because when I spoke to him about it, because he was one that pointed out the Watcher as the name, and he's like, "What about the Observer?" Because he observes the timeline.
Yeah.
The pixels on a screen.
So, is there like I think it was mentioned in the lore, how like the Observer's main focus is now season 2, and of course we don't want that to obviously, well, mainly Tyler. It doesn't. Charles doesn't want it to overly interfere, but I suppose the whole lore point is that he's just focusing on that because the finale of season 2 is coming up, and Charles has announced it's coming up.
I think once season 2 happens, Charles has given us the green light to use parts of season 2 as lore pieces where we need to. So I think with that, we are going to not change past lore, but add on to things that will benefit all of us in like the long run anyway.
In a way, the Observer did see season 2 as the only continuation that mattered to him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's focusing on how the finale will work for season 2.
Yeah.
He's writing Charles's end, I suppose.
Yeah. So it really depends what happens there. So
yeah,
I think I'm just gonna say this, right? Like with Rusty. Do you wanna say what Rusty?
What about
recent
him
news with Rusty? The voice.
Oh,
Rusty.
Right. I suppose we can talk about this. Rusty's changing voice. Yeah, he's changing voice actor. Going forward. Yeah. I've done a lot of work with this specifically because obviously I edit the voice, so it's taken a bit to kind of fine tweak. It sounds okay. It's hard because like we don't want to kind of have the voice too different to how it was when Sooty was doing it before. I think we've made it sound okay.
I would consider this new Rusty as a complete new one. Like I would consider the old Rusty, let's just call him the Worlds Collide Rusty, the one that you saw in Worlds Collide and the kind of skin that we used for a while. That was kind of my main era of voice acting him. And the new one, obviously I did voice him in the most recent collab, but that will be it might be the last time, you never know.
Yeah. But with this new one, I suppose is a lore sense because of Rusty's kind of, I don't want to say too much about what's going to happen. But the way he kind of presents himself this time can I suppose indicate why his voice is different. Like I kind of, at least from this new point of Rusty, I've kind of envisioned how he is to be based on his personality. And since he's obviously come back this time. Wow, we have gone over time. Well, we've done more. Well, not over time, but we've gone over more time than the first episode.
Oh wow!
We are at 43 minutes right now. So is there anything?
We've summarized everything, but I will say, I think, depending on what strings we pull, the next episode will have a new guest sitting in this seat here.
Yes, the next episode. The next episode probably will launch either after Saturday's video or sometime a little bit later. We'll see.
Yeah.
We might have to bring the executive producer on for the next episode. If it's to do with the next episode, we should bring the executive producer on. If it's to do with a certain thing happening a certain finale happening, then that guy will come on without obviously sharing too much. So yeah, I think that's it. I think we're done, aren't we?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
If you have any more questions, I'll be sure to answer them in the comments, because I run the channel. I have all the... can I even move with this free cam? There we go. If we all jump on the table. I've just struggled to get over the table. Anyway, so yeah. Thank you all very much for watching this episode. It's been a while, but hopefully, we might be able to do more, especially over the summer. We might be able to do more episodes. So thank you all from me, Wolf Sooty. Want to say your thank yous?
It's a senate.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye, guys.
Bye.